Hey, what's up? So this video is about a reality check. It is something that I am just presently going through that I've had. I've had a sort of a realization, for what it's worth, so I'll just talk about it, in the best way for myself, which is just using my own story. A reality check is sometimes in your life you might, it can, depending on how things are going for you. But sometimes when, say, there is a chance that the path that you're on doesn't really make the most sense, long-term, short-term, however you want to look at it. And so it's important to take a moment and stop and reflect and look at it all and think about it and feel into it and just really, check in and kind of see if what you're doing really makes sense. We get ourselves into all kinds of situations. It just, like, as life unfolds nonstop, it just happens, right? But then sometimes, at least for myself, it's like I find myself sitting in a place and it's like, this isn't where I want to be, and I don't know if it's going to be what gets me to where I need to go, right? So reality check, like, give your head a shake, pay attention, open your eyes, and really take stock of everything that's going on in your life and what everything that you've gotten yourself involved in has amounted to. And so this is where I'm at. So basically what has happened is, for myself, over the last couple of years, I have, I went from having a house to then selling it and having some money and then doing a lot of traveling and trying to finish writing a book. And then I wasn't able to finish it. And then I had to start working again, and a couple of relationships, and then different jobs, and then sort of my cookie crumbled a number of times, and I've ended up say I was working at this place, and then something happened which was my own fault. I said something at work, and that's all it took to find myself unemployed. And so anyways, I went traveling for a year. I lived in my car and I was working on my book, and anyways, I had to come back, and then I came back and started working again, and then I got this job, and then winter came and I ended up moving in with my boss, right? And I lived in this house for, pretty close to a year or something like that, and it was fine. Rent was really cheap, just a couple $100 a month rent, but the living environment was not suitable for a person of my demeanor, right, or whatever. It was not good for me, not healthy for me. And anyways, so I went to New York, and it was always the thing. It's he said that I could move in until I did my yoga course and whatnot. So I stayed true to that. I went to New York, I came back, and then I had a little bit of moment to myself, and then it was just all these things added up, and I was like, I have had enough of this situation that I found myself in. And so I decided, okay, well, I'll move back into my car. And then before I knew it, living in a car is not ideal. It is a huge compromise. I don't know if it's even marginally better than the toxic situation that I had found myself in before, because once again, it's like, where do you sleep every night? You're essentially homeless. You're in a place where you don't really belong. And so for myself, I'm a Cancer, and that, if you know anything, if you are a Cancer, you probably, we like our home space. I like having a home. I like having my things close to me so that I feel comfort being surrounded by things that are important to me, and I can have a routine and that kind of stuff, right? And that's kind of just all gone out the window in the last couple of years. And I've just, I had this dark night of the soul where I was like, oh my God, what is going on here? Like, it was just, things weren't really making sense. I needed to like slow right down and kind of get to a breaking point. Not exactly a downward spiral, it's not like I hit rock bottom, but it's like just a moment of reflection and just stopping and slowing down and getting to the point to I don't know, question some things, not an existential crisis, not like wondering why am I here and what I'm doing, not that kind of depth, right? But different. And then so I went to this festival and I came back. I had this I did these vocal freedom workshops, and it helped with this energy center here, this chakra, the Vishuddha, and I made a video about that. And anyways, I mean, like, aside from communicating with other people and those types of relationships and whatnot, it is I would say that the communication that we have with ourselves, the relationship that you have with yourself, how honest with yourself you're being about everything. If you're taking time to check in and make sure that what you're doing really serves your best interests, and it's going to pan out. And so I've kind of, like, in the last little while, this is all like very much leading up, it's just day to day to day, and I've reached this point where it's like, okay, I was at a place where the future was very uncertain. I came to realize that so like living in a vehicle is one thing, but if you're working a job, then you're tied to a place, and then so you can't really just bugger off into the woods and take off. You have to exist. So you're half in and half out of society. So it's just like you stick out like a sore thumb. You're like I don't know, and in between, you're kind of here, you're not really anywhere, right? And so this was very unhealthy for myself, and I reached a place where I was able to sit back and look, and I was like, you know what, I can't see the future because so it's like I'm becoming a yoga teacher, so I'm going to start volunteering at the local YMCA and at other studios and stuff like that. But it's like, how am I going to live in my vehicle, and like when winter comes, and so am I going to leave in the winter time? It's like so the things that I was doing, becoming a yoga teacher and this and that, and I want to start a business and all this and finish writing my book, and it's very hard when you're on the road. It can be anyways, unless you're set up in that kind of a way. I mean, if that's your life, that's awesome. And if I was there, that would be great, but I am not. And I have to admit that. You have to, it's important to be real, have a reality check and be like, no, I'm not running an online business. I do not have a van that is ready to go that I can live comfortably in and do this and that. It's like I'm working towards things, and I need some stability in my life. And and so I really realized that what I was doing, I basically need to put some roots down. And it's like, I don't like this town that I live in because for a lot of reasons. It's a farming place, and they spread manure and things like that, and it stinks, and it's like it's not good for your health. I've seen in documentaries about places where that is the practice of dispersing manure on the fields. Really, it's not even about the fertilizer. It's just they don't know what else to do with it because there's so much of it. They have to get rid of it somehow, right? And so and it's not good for your health, and I don't want to be around that. But at the end of the day, this is where I live. This is where I have grown up. I have connections here. I have roots here. And so it's like, okay, just suck it up, princess, and, get established here, at least for now. Take some time, put some gentle roots in. It's not like you have to stay here forever, but it's like you have to essentially embrace what you're doing, because living like a shadow existence, like a ghost, it doesn't work. You kind of, sometimes you have to, not just dip your toes in. You need to go all in. It's like, if you're gonna go swimming, go swimming. If you don't want to go swimming, don't go swimming. But you can't go halfway, to pussyfoot for what it's worth. It just doesn't work, at least for myself. I mean, it might work for a little period of time, but I've just reached this place in my life where, like I said, I was sitting there, and it's like the future is unclear. And the thing is like, I can't visualize how I'm going to get out of my present situation, because it doesn't make sense. And that's why it's important to stop all the nonsense, all the ideas, and all the, I'm doing this. Just stop and shut up and be like, okay, what do I gotta do? And it took time to myself. I had to really be alone. I had to have some releases. I had to do some crying. I had to do some just anything that I could. I had to go through some different processes and whatnot. And for myself, I don't have support. I mean, but if you do, that can help. I mean, but I went through it on my own, and support from other levels, right? Always supported in another way, but I just mean like with humans, people and whatnot in your life. I mean, sometimes we don't have this community that we're after. I mean, and I've heard from people who actually have community how it's just so amazing to be involved with people who are supportive and who are on a similar path, and who are, can provide encouragement and a positive example, and like whatever you need to help get you through whatever you're going through and whatnot. So yeah, I ended up taking some time, and then just realized in the last couple of days, it's like, yeah, this does not work. I am suffering living in a vehicle. It is not going to get me to where I need to go. I need to, essentially choose another path. It's not like I'm giving up on the van. It's not like I'm giving up on teaching yoga. I'm going to embrace all of those things, but it's like normal people who work jobs and have houses and stuff like that, or not houses, but like rent a place so that you have your own space, so at least you have somewhat of a platform from which to spring or jump off of, right? I mean, however you want to look at that. Yeah. And so it's a big, I don't know if it's not even really humility, right? I mean, or maybe it is, to sit there and just recognize that it's not that I was wrong about anything that I was doing, but hey buddy, Josh. Hey, how's it going?
Good. I could go on there.
Yeah, you do whatever you want. Hey buddy. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, it's just been huge. And the other thing for me too is just realizing, because my life has been just spilling over from year to year, which is fine. That has been my journey. I swear I have done my best to the best of my ability with everything that I had going on. I followed my heart. I had faith. I trusted in the way that my life was unfolding. And just as I do right now, it's just kind of like turning over a new leaf. It's like time for a new chapter. And I realized that it's like I've had my stuff in storage now for upwards of 2 years, and I've just kind of been bumming around. I had a room in a house. That was never home. It was never, because you always have to leave. So that's not a home. It's like you're just an occupant. You're somebody who is habitating, in a place, but it's not your home, because all of my stuff isn't there. I have to clean up and work within the framework of everything that's going on there, and it really was not ideal for me. So I just kind of been living a half existence there. Then traveling in the car was a half existence, and then now living in a vehicle is just a joke as well. And it's like, holy smokes, like, just, wake up, wake up from this nonsense, from this almost like, I don't know, it's not that it's a false reality, but like, if you're having a reality check, what do you call that when you're actually, saying, hey, this is, has been a thing, but it's got to stop. And something that really comes to mind when I talk about all this stuff is like to do with, people who have substance abuse problems, whether that substance is some kind of a drug, which is, like an umbrella term that can describe a lot of things, food being in a drug, like forms of entertainment, distraction being a drug, as well as weed and alcohol and all kinds of things that you can essentially use to escapism or whatever it is. But yeah, it's tricky to be real, to get to a place where it's like, yeah, this has to stop. I am doing, it's, damn near doing harm to myself and to my mental wellness for what it's worth. It is unhealthy to continue down this path. I can see that I've taken this path as far as it can go, and it is at a dead end right now. It is time to essentially move in another direction, or because otherwise the only thing that I can foresee down this path is more pain, more suffering, more struggle, more frustration, more anger. Like, I got angry in the last couple of days, like healthy anger, but it's just because to myself, anger is this emotion that you feel when you recognize something, you witness something that is so incongruent with what you understand to be correct that it's like a call to action. So I was just furious over the last couple of days and not dwelling on it, not sitting there pouting, not being negative, not feeling sorry for myself, but allowing myself to really see where I'm at and to just be like, I am sick and tired of this. I feel like I'm like a rolling stone where I've been falling down a mountain for a while, and there's been a couple of places where I've landed, but because of the weight of my rock, it's like within no time, because of the impact, the ground under me erodes, and then I keep falling and falling and falling, and I'm sick of it, right? I've reached a point where I just don't want to be doing that anymore. And it's beautiful because the moment that I woke up to this and realized that it's time to essentially get a haircut and get a real job, and that's a joke, it's a song, right? I'm not gonna cut my dreads off. But some people don't know the song, but it's a joke. But get a real job, that where I get a steady paycheck and get a place where I can have all of my stuff instead of living out of a container and a car and trying to build a van and have my stuff at my dad's place. Is just absolutely ridiculous. Is a joke, for myself as an adult, to be living like this. It's been one hell of a ride, the last, decade, the last 5 years, the last 2 years and whatnot. But it's certainly, for myself, it is time to turn a new page, right? And, finish my book, and to not, there's nothing wrong with working a job and getting a place for a bit. I know for myself, it's been challenging because I have this energy of in me that is like, I am a free spirit, and I really value my freedom, and I like being able to choose, and I don't appreciate being rushed, and I really enjoy following my heart and feeling, yeah, I mean, and like being in nature, and like there's all these things, right? But it's like at the end of the day, you have to find balance in your life. You can't, it's like all those things are great, but if it's not working, and it becomes sort of evident that is the case, then sometimes it's important to make a change, to choose and say, no, this doesn't work, I need to stop. It doesn't make sense. This is nonsense. And I can be doing better. And I will be happier if I embrace another form of existence, at least for a period of time, where I can regroup, where I can get organized, where I can channel my energy into whatever it is that I need to, so that I can get focused, so I can have a routine which feels good to me, and then move on from there. And so that's where I'm at, and and it feels good. So feels good.